Hey guys, welcome back to my class once again. Today we will discuss about double fertilization. It's a very important topic under the chapter of sexual reproduction in flowering plants for class 12. We all know that fertilization is the union between two different types of gametes, that is male gamete and female gamete. Now, prior to know details about the mechanism of double fertilization, we need to know about the formation and maturation of both male gametes and female gametes. So, we need to start our discussion with the maturation process, with the formation process of male gametes and female gametes. We all know that any complete typical flower consists of 4 different folds. These are those 4 folds. Number 1, calyx, also known as sepal. 2, corolla or petals. Then the male part of the flower, which is known as androecium or stamen, and the female part of any flower known as gynoecium or carpel. So these are the 4 different holes that any flower will always contain. Among these 4 holes, these 2 holes are known as essential holes because they are the reproductive part, reproductive hole of any flower. So if we want to start our discussion with the formation and maturation of male gametes, then we have to start our discussion with the structural details of androecium. Now, with the help of this diagram, we will try to understand how any male gamete get matured inside the male reproductive structure. So here is our first structure, a single typical stamen. So our first structure is of a single typical stamen, and a typical stamen consists of 2 major portions. At the top there is the anther that houses the pollen grain, and this stalk-like structure is known as filament. So a typical stamen consists of these 2 portions. Now if we cross-sect the anther and try to find out what is present inside it, we will have a diagram that looks like this. So this is our second diagram. This is the cross section of anther. Here we find these 2 lobes present on both of its sides. These lobes are known as anther lobes. As there are 2 anther lobes are present inside this typical anther, such anther are referred as dithecous anther. If there were only 1 anther lobe present inside any anther, such anther will be referred as monothecous anther. Now if we examine these anther lobe further detail with the help of any microscope, we will find some circular sac-like structure inside these anther lobe. So these are the small circular sac-like structure. These are known as pollen sac or microsporangium, as it known to house the microspores or pollen grains. So there are altogether 4 microsporangium are there in this typical anther. So this anther is known as tetrasporangiate, as it houses 4 different pollen tubes, pollen sacs, sorry. On the other hand, in monothecous anther we will have only 2 pollen sac, and such anther will be referred as bisporangiate in that respect. Okay, so here are 4 pollen sac or microsporangium is present inside these anther. Now we have already came to know that pollen sacs or microsporangium are known to house the developing pollen grains. So these are the pollen grains present inside the pollen sac. Whenever this pollen grain become matured, it will come out of this anther lobe. So a mature pollen grain will come out of the anther and it will fall on the stigma. So these are the mature pollen grains. Now prior to move the development of pollen grain further on the stigma, we need to know about the structural details of a matured pollen grain. Here is a structure that is showing the development of a matured pollen grain. This is a matured pollen grain. This pollen grain consists of 2 different layers outside of its structure. These 2 layers are known as intine. The innermost thinner layer is known as intine, and outermost relatively thicker layer is known as exine. So intine and exine. These are two layers, those surround a mature pollen grain. Now this exine layer is very peculiar by its nature. There is a protein known as sporopollenin found to present inside this exine layer, and this protein makes the exine layer very tough. It can withstand a high range of temperature, salinity, pH range, and this exine layer help to survive the pollen grain for a longer period of time outside the androecium. So this is a peculiar structure of a pollen grain. What is present inside the pollen grain? We will find two different cell-like structure inside the pollen grain cytoplasm. The relatively larger cell, this cell which contain relatively larger nucleus, is known as vegetative cell. Vegetative cell. And this smaller cell with relatively smaller nucleus is known as generative cell. So from this generative cell, two male gamete will further produce inside this pollen grain, and vegetative cell will provide the nourishment to the generative cell. So at this cell stage, this pollen grain contain two cells. In some plant, the generative cell may also get converted into male gametes prior to its liberation. So in some plant cells, male gametes get already converted from the generative cells prior to its liberation. So in those plants, pollen grains are known to liberate it at 3 cell stage. One cell is known as vegetative cell and remaining 2 cells are two male gametes. So this is a structure of a typical pollen grain. Now let's try to find out what happens to this pollen grain whenever it lands on the stigma. Upon landing on the stigma, it will start absorbing water from the stigma. By absorbing the water, this particular pollen grain will start to increase a finger-like projection that start to increase from any of its surface. This finger-like projection is known as pollen tube. This pollen tube contain degenerative vegetative cell at the tip of its tube and two matured pollen grains. Two mature male gametes. So pollen tube actually function as the carrier of the male gametes. Pollen tube thus extend from the stigma via the style. Finally it reaches the ovary, and there it makes the union between male gametes with that of female gametes. So here we came to know that how any mature pollen grain after landing on the stigma form the pollen tube, and thus any male gamete finally reaches to the female gamete. Now we have to know and understand the maturation process of female gamete inside the gynoecium.